Hey, good evening, and welcome to tonight's Shocker Family Table Talk with Parents. My name is Alicia Newell, and I have the privilege of serving as one of the Assistant Vice Presidents for Student Affairs here at Wichita State. I am a proud Shocker alum. For those of you who are new with us, as well as in my role, I am your personal liaison and making sure that the university and you are staying connected and engaged and really providing that partnership with parents through their journey while your student attends Wichita State. And so tonight's session is all about preparing your Shocker for a successful transition to college. That is from signing up for orientation to exploring our preseason programs. That all sets the foundation for a strong start. And so tonight's series is designed specifically with you in mind. And so our Shocker Summer series with parents, we bring the experts directly to you. And so as a parent, we know how overwhelming it can be to take off work, get to campus, and there's 101 things that you're preparing for as your students getting ready to graduate from high school. And so we want to make sure that we're taking time just to kind of slow things down and walk alongside you and let you know exactly what you need to know when you need to know it most. And so if you feel overwhelmed, I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath and just let you know that we're here to keep you informed and we're ready to support you every step of the way. Tonight with me is my colleague, my Shocker sister, Kim Sandlin, and she's going to introduce herself and share a little bit about her experience, and then we're going to kick off our session for tonight.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be back. It's hard to believe that we're in another round of our Shocker Family Table Talks, but here we are, again, welcoming new students and families to our Shocker community. So as Alicia said, my name is Kim Sandlin. I serve your students and you and the community as the Director of Student Success. And under that umbrella is our first year programs area, which is the orientation piece of your students' introduction and transition into Shocker life. So I, as well, am an alum, a proud alum of the university. And tonight's really fun for us because we get to talk about how your student can get connected to a lot of some exciting and impactful experiences. When I was a student, I was part of a lot of the programs that we're going to talk about tonight. So I was part of Student Activities Council, and I'm in, Greek life as now an advisor, and living the chaos of a parent as well. My son is a freshman at Wichita State, and he dove in headfirst into all of the things, got involved before he graduated high school with a fraternity, and now just got elected to their executive board and has had jobs on campus and has volunteered on campus and in the community. And so he's living his best life, as we say. And that's great. But I also have a 16-year-old daughter at home. So when we talk about living the parent chaos, I'm going to actually have to excuse myself early tonight because she has a show at her high school that I did not consult the family calendar when we put the schedule together. So I'm going to start here in just a minute after we hear from our third presenter to talk through the orientation process, what that looks like, some preseason opportunities, and then we'll talk about all the great ways that your students can get connected and make really some have impactful experiences, but also make some impactful connections with friends and networks and such that are going to help them be successful, not only while they're here on campus, but also beyond. So queued up right here is our partner in student engagement and belonging, Tia Hill, and I'll let her introduce herself, and then I'll pop back on and talk about orientation.
Thanks, Kim. Hi, everybody. My name is Tia Hill. I am the Director of Activities Engagement at Wichita State Student Engagement and Belonging Office. We at Student Engagement and Belonging are make meaningful connections for your students in several different areas. Myself and my team that I oversee We directly work with, as Kim said, fraternity and sorority life, activities, civic engagement, service, and volunteerism. So those are some of the top areas that I oversee. In addition to that, our staff also lead our recognized student organizations, which we have over 200 plus on campus, as well as leadership development opportunities, cultural engagement programming, and meaningful ways to get your student engaged and make some great relationships. That is one of the things that as a department we really pride ourselves on, is creating experiences and pathways to get your student connected, to have a network of people and friends that they can rely and lean on. Whether that's finding that future roommate, that best friend, or even a resume builder and a reference for a future job opportunity. And we get to have fun while doing it. We have a network of about 100 student leaders within our department that we work with. Kim Sandlin mentioned her son. He is one of them, serving on the Interfraternity Council. And we really get to have a lot of great experiences with your students when they're here, through those essential programs and those involvement opportunities. So I look forward to talking more with you all about those experiences. And at this time, I'll hand it back over to Kim.
All right, thanks, Tia. We're going to jump in here. And before I get too deep into the orientation information, we just want to make sure that you all as parents and viewers of this program know that you can go ahead and type in a question if you have one. Let us know what you're curious about. It can be on topic. It can be totally off topic. Totally fine. You should, see the questions that we get often in these programs. Because sometimes as parents, this might be the only time during the entire schedule for the summer that you're able to connect with us. And so this is another great way for you to get your questions answered. So again, if it's off topic, great. Put it in the comments, ask your question. We'll try to answer as many of those live as we can as we go through this program tonight. And if it's on topic, that's great too. If what we're talking about brings, kind of stirs your mind and things you've never asked before or had a chance to ask before, certainly want to welcome those comments and those questions so that we can make sure that we support you, because we see you as a partner in this transition and want to work alongside you. I think sometimes as a parent, you feel as though, they don't really want me involved anymore. Isn't that interesting? But we also know that the reality is a lot of you are helping pay for your students' experience here. So, these are great ways to figure out how to get the information that you need in a way that you need it. So again, feel free to add comments, to ask your questions, and we'll get to those throughout the program. So let's dive into orientation. This process opened February 1st, I believe, which was actually earlier this year than normal, which is great. It provides your students an early chance to kind of get that plan going in terms of when they're enrolling in classes, what their schedule might be, when they're going to attend orientation. Orientation is required of all new students, regardless of the number of credit hours that they have already earned. A lot of our freshmen come in with a significant number of credit hours, and some come in with 0 credit hours. And either option or either thing is fine. It doesn't really matter if your student has 0 hours. That's great. They can start with 0 hours. Some of your students will transfer in, or not transfer in, but will come in with an earned associate's degree. That's great too. It just may, they may be on campus a little bit shorter time period than our freshmen who are starting with 0 credit hours. So wherever you are on that continuum is totally fine. I'll tell you at orientation, when we see you and your student, we're not necessarily going to know who is on a full ride scholarship, or who is on a full Pell Grant, or who had a 4.0 GPA, or who had maybe a 2.2 GPA coming in. At orientation, this is a new start for everyone, and we treat everyone with the same amount of respect, and we're going to give the same amount of service to every student who comes through our program. And hopefully you experience that throughout your time here at Wichita State. So February 1st, our process opened. So if you have not already signed up for orientation, that's really your first step after you become admitted to the university. So we're going to make a couple of assumptions, one being your student's already admitted. If they're not admitted, we can answer those questions. If you have questions about that, pop them in the chat and we'll get to those. But once your student's admitted, now is the time to really be thinking about the plans for transitioning into college life. With a caveat, they should still be enjoying the last semester of high school, right? It is April 30th. I know our local school district here goes until the middle of May. There are some other school districts that go, into almost June, maybe past June 1. And that's okay. They should not rush this experience. They really need to enjoy their last semester of high school. So I say that because a lot of our families want to sign up for the very first orientation and come to the very first orientation and get the things all done on the first time that, is available. And that is great. Love that. Love the energy, love the enthusiasm. But I'm going to tell you from nearly 30 years of working with college freshmen at Wichita State, they're not going to remember much, right? So we're beginning this process with you all April 30th. Your students may not start with us until the fall semester, which is like middle of August. There's a lot of time between now and then. There's a lot of things to do and think about. But in terms of retaining information, you don't have to come to the first orientation. In fact, we actually encourage students, if it fits their schedule, to come in July, maybe, because the reality of becoming a college student often doesn't sink in until about August 1st. And then it's real because, again, students are going on summer vacations, they're going on graduation trips, they're, again, living the best life, working full time. That's a reality for a lot of our students. And so they're spending their summer kind of preparing, but they don't really have their head wrapped around, I'm going to become a college student, I'm going to be a full-time college student. So, again, if you're on the early bus, you're type A personality, I'm right there with you. I'm usually the one that wants to sign up right away. And you're welcome, obviously, to do that. In fact, a large majority of the freshmen coming in have already chosen their orientation session. So if you have questions about that or still need to RSVP, you can go to wichita.edu/orientation. And then you can just RSVP for orientation there from that site. Your student will have to know their WSU ID and their login information. I highly, highly recommend they are the ones choosing their date and completing that information. We as parents obviously have their best interests at heart, but again, after 30 years of working with new students and families, often we haven't had the conversations that need to happen. What does an early morning class mean to you versus your student? You might think 8:30, they might think 11:30, and just little kinds of, little details like that. If you are the one filling out that reservation, you need to have your student with you. You should not be doing this process. And that's one of the hard things that we're going to talk about at every single one of these programs, is that your student has to be involved in this process for them to make a successful transition. So select your orientation date. We just ask a few questions. If you need any accommodations while you're here, what do we need to provide to make sure that you and your student get the full experience that you need? And then after you have chosen your date, the next step is to complete the enrollment questionnaire. If you started the process and got some questions answered, but still need to finish it, you should be hearing from admissions or our office just to encourage you to complete that. Because if you have not completed the enrollment questionnaire, our first year advisors in One Stop are not able to begin building your student's schedule. So once you complete that enrollment questionnaire, that information is all sent to the advisor. And from the answers to those questions, they are building your student's first semester schedule. That's why it's really important that your student is the one answering these questions and that your student is the one submitting the information. So once all of that information is in, advisors have been working on schedules, sending schedules out to students. And as a student, you always have the option to say, you know what? You missed the mark. From the top to the bottom and the left to the right, you're off. I don't like this schedule. We need to meet and have a conversation about this. Advisors are open to that. Great. Let's do it. Let's talk over the phone. Let's come in person. Let's have a virtual appointment. They will meet with new students, any of those ways to correct anything that they might need help with or changes, or maybe your student has changed their major, which happens a lot. And it will continue to happen. And they will add double majors and they will add minors and they'll change academic colleges and they'll kind of make these moves as they, again, are experiencing the reality of academics at a college level, right? So if, any of those changes have happened, or if you are like, oh my gosh, why am I in an 8:30 class and that kind of thing, those are all questions that your student can ask of their first year advisor, and work together with them to create the best schedule as possible. Now, this process opened a month early, which means classes are already getting pretty full. There are fewer options at this point because we did open it so early. In fact, our freshmen, your students, were able to enroll before our upperclassmen. The first people to enroll are our new incoming freshmen. So they really got, if you have already completed this process, which again, a large majority of the incoming students have completed it, then you're in good shape. Now, again, if your student has questions, if they need to change their schedule, all they need to do is get in contact with their advisor. If they have not seen their schedule sent to them, they will want to check their email. And here's the other thing that we'll say in every single one of these sessions is we're going to communicate with your student at their Wichita State email, period. We will not communicate with you as the parent, right? We are going to send that information to their Shockers email address. So if your student says, I haven't gotten anything, they're not contacting me, I don't know what's happening, you might encourage them to log on to their Shockers email account. They were sent this information in their admissions information in terms of their, WSU and ID or their WSU ID, sorry. And they should set up their password and they can log into their portal or their My WSU and they can check their email from there. And we use Outlook as that system. So we're going to connect with them through email. And so that you're not going to have the kind of text message, phone messages, emails like potentially you did. I certainly have that with my students' high school, right? If something happens, they need to get a hold of me. I'm getting all three communications within minutes of each other. That stops because of a federal law called FERPA. And that federal law kicks in when they enroll in classes. So it's not when they become a student. It's not when they are on campus. It's not when they turn 18. When they enroll in classes, their educational record is now protected by federal law, which is a reason why our information is going to their email account. Okay. So Alicia, I saw you popped in. So do you have some questions for me?
Yeah. And so I wanted to make sure that we have time to address the question, because I know you do have to get out a little early to get to Livy's thing. And so if a student is coming in and they have a lot of credits, and so I'm going to bring this on here. So Charity is wanting to know, and they want to extend to that full 4 years. And so how do they go about doing that? And one of the things that Kim and I often talk about with students, and we see all the time, is that more and more of our students from high school are coming in with those college credit hours. And so this is something both Kim's student and mine as well have done. And it's really a great opportunity to talk with your student about what is their goal. And also when they're meeting with their advisor, and I think Kim mentioned something really important that I just want to reiterate, is that when we were in college, enrollment looked very different from what it does today. I went in and I sat and met with a person, my advisor in person. We selected classes together. I took my card, I went to another place, I gave it to them, they enrolled me in classes. And so here, this first semester is going to look really, really different from our experience. And so they're getting a push notification from the university, and we are auto enrolling them in classes. Your student has to accept their schedule. That is very different. And so making sure, like Kim said, your student, once they're admitted, communication stops from the university to the parents, and it is all directed to your student. We no longer will communicate and send information your way. It's all in their MyWSU email account. And so they should be checking that periodically. But the other part is that once they complete that fall class schedule or the enrollment questionnaire, that's what kind of triggers everything else in the system, right, Kim? And so when Kim's talking about you're able to accept or decline the schedule, that's a really good opportunity, Charity, for your student to say, hey, can I schedule an appointment with you to see how do my classes transfer in and apply to my degree? What does this look like? I know Kim's student, and you may want to talk a little bit about this, Kim, or not, but looking at exploring a minor or other areas for them, because they could graduate, if they're coming in with 24 plus hours, they could graduate in 3 years. Great. They could add the additional time, Charity, by adding in either research, national student exchange, where they do an exchange program with another institution. So there's a lot of opportunities there that they can have a conversation with an advisor.
Yeah. And I would say full-time enrollment in terms of financial aid is 12 credit hours, which 12 credit hours is pretty easy to get to. A lot of our students are taking 15, some of them even more than that. So I would encourage you, if they really want the full 4 years, a couple of things to think about ahead of time. One, do the classes that your student is bringing with them even count toward their degree? Because I hate to tell you all this, but some of the classes because I hear it as the parent from the high school too. It is an incredible opportunity to knock out some of this college work early in high school. But here's the reality. One, your credits will transfer for admission purposes, but more importantly, two, your credits transfer to apply toward a degree program. So for instance, in our local school district, financial literacy class is required. Financial literacy class is not required for a degree at Wichita State. It's not, it's an elective. So that's great if they took it. Important skills to know. Do they need it for their degree? No. Is it going to take away an opportunity that they had to choose a class, maybe, on a minor or something like that? Potentially. Right? So I don't want to discount the opportunities that students have in high school for college credits, but it's very different. Another example of this is that my son took AP government and got credit for a politics class. Fantastic opportunity for him. Fantastic experience for him. It was a year long in high school. In college, we're teaching that in 16 weeks, sometimes in 8 weeks. So the pace is different, right? I'm not even going to go down the math road and calculus and all of that. But if I'll tell you this, if your student passed calculus and they're ready for the next class, that's different than if your student understands calculus and is ready for the next class. So the pace, the intensity, the way classes are taught are very different in college. So I want to put that kind of all out there, and we'll talk about that at orientation a little bit more. So that's all great. I would say if they really want to expand and use the full 4 years, that's great. Have them take 12 credit hours per, whatever, or per semester, or as Alicia said, add some of those academic opportunities like study abroad or a double major or a minor. There's a lot of students that'll have 2 majors and 3 minors, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes down to also finances. So you have to kind of keep that in mind as well too. Sorry, Alicia, did you want to pop in?
No, yeah. And so I want to get ready to switch gears and make sure we leave time for Tia to talk about our belonging side and some of our pre-seasons. And so wanting just to let you know that if you are not able to attend orientation, it's okay. This is why we do this series, is because a lot of this information is shared also at orientation, but a little bit more in depth. And we want to make sure that whether you're able to attend orientation with your student or not, you're getting the same information. And also just it's as a parent, I want to know a familiar face on my student's campus and feel like I am a part of the Shocker family. And so when we say welcome to the Shocker family, like this is it. We are here along the ride for the next 4 to 5 years. And so when you come for orientation, you do not have to stay for the entire day. You can come to the welcome, to sessions that you're interested in. And it's really as you see fit and what you feel you need to know as a parent. And so I think that's one great thing that, Kim and her crew does, is making sure that there are opportunities for you to engage and connect with us. But we also understand that it's really hard for families to take off as well and to be here. And so feel free to continue, and we'll talk a little bit more about our other series coming up in the future. But I'm going to go ahead and shift over to Tia. And if you have additional questions, feel free to continue to put them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end. So I'm going to bring Tia on right now. And Tia is going to talk with us about the amazing opportunities within student engagement and belonging, as well as some of our preseason programs that we have at the university, and ways to get your student connected and engaged before they actually start their journey here with us at Wichita State. So Tia, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Tia Hill. I'm the Director of Activities and Engagement at Student Engagement and Belonging. We are a department located in the Radigan Student Center on the second floor. If you're not familiar with Wichita State's campus, the Radigan Student Center is in the heart of campus, centrally located near Shocker Hall, which is our first year living community on campus. We also have in that same building our food court, the card center, and it's a hub of activity. So we are conveniently located on the second floor of that building. That convenience allows us to be able to have direct connection and to be able to create some meaningful programming opportunities for your students. Once you're on campus and you're in the student center, you'll experience and feel what our students feel while they're here, which is a sense of belonging and connection. Our department fosters those connection opportunities through assisting in and supporting over 200 student organizations on campus. If your student is already involved, say they're in a student council or they like to do volunteerism on the weekends, we are the hub that provides those same and similar opportunities on campus, and we elevate those experiences through creating some meaningful leadership opportunities. So I am here as a staff member. We also have a team of about 16 other staff members. Those are full-time professional staff members that are dedicated to helping your student connect and find their way through their Wichita State journey. So if we can go to the next slide. So we talk a little bit about why involvement matters. I think you've probably seen this in your own child's journey over the years, as they stepped foot in t-ball to now on playing in softball or baseball or any sport or any involvement opportunity. You have seen growth and development in your child. We continue that through WSU through involvement opportunities like student organizations, leadership retreats, academic success initiatives, and volunteerism. We like to say in our department, our goal is to help prepare and create world-ready leaders. So students who are interested in taking the next step, whether that's continuing to enhance their own current leadership opportunities and their leadership journey, or they're just venturing into it. Many times I run into students who are maybe a little shy in high school and middle school. Maybe they didn't get involved, but they know the benefit of it is the leadership opportunities and the connections that they make. So even if your student has never been involved, I want you all to know the benefits of that are helping them develop those career readiness skills like critical thinking, decision making. Lord knows I've helped so many students draft professional emails and edit resumes. So as a department, we are a full service team of professionals that help our leaders grow and prepare for those next steps. So yes, they start as freshmen, but the end goal is to get them in the job that has meaningful purpose for them. So that's why involvement experiences matters. It is the open door to opportunities. And so we hope you will encourage your students to get out of their comfort zone, challenge themselves through new programs, new initiatives, and new involvement opportunities. So that journey looks a little different for every student, right? That could be attending events. We kick off our involvement journey at WSU through Welcome Fest, which is a 4-week-long welcome introductory program for our students. And within that week, they are going to experience programs like our Meet the Greeks, where they will meet our fraternity and sorority leaders. They'll meet with other student organization leaders on campus at our involvement fair. They will, meet their new best friends at Next Level Garage Party and Big Bingo. They're going to take those first steps within those first 4 weeks, and those are going to be the most meaningful and impactful time for them as they start to make that connection to campus, meet their people, and feel more comfortable. So we definitely encourage you all as parents to share those experiences with them and encourage them to go to those programs and go to those events so that they can meet and make those connections and build those friendships. Next slide. So you might wonder, what does that look like and how do they get connected? This slide talks a little bit about ShockerSync. This is a platform, I like to call it, and hopefully you all will appreciate this, I call it the Facebook of like student involvement. And on this, it is a platform where every student organization has their own individual page. So if your student is interested in chess, they go on to ShockerSync and they will say, they will type in the word chess and our chess club will pop up. Or if they're a psychology major, they will type in the word psychology and they will see that we have 2 psychology clubs on campus, one being an honorary organization. So this is the hub for them to seek out those student organizations that they want to get connected with. It is also where all of our student-facing programs and events are held. So on this page, you will see a calendar of events. This is a great space for you all to be able to also see those events, because if you visit shockersync.wichita.edu, you'll see some of those public-facing events. You won't be able to log in directly because it is authenticated for students to log in with their university ID, but you will be able to browse the student groups that exist as well as the events that are happening. You just won't be able to like RSVP or seek out some of those. But encourage your students to shop around on ShockerSync and try to find those connections and those new experiences. Each page has like a connect with or an email for the advisor as well as the student leaders that are involved in running that organization. So events. I talked a little bit about Welcome Fest, but Welcome Fest is just a small taste of the experiences that we offer. Our calendar of events over the course of a year is about almost 200 programs, and those vary. And the reason they vary so much is we know we have an expansive and diverse student body on campus. We have international students, we have our first generation students, transfer, adult learners, and we try to offer something for everybody. So beyond that 4 weeks, you're going to see programming that is educational, leadership development based, but there's also a lot of social experiences. You see on this page, within those first couple of weeks, we host the Next Level Garage Party. We turn our parking garage next to the Radigan Student Center into a multi-level event space with dance parties, climbing walls, food trucks, popcorn, cotton candy. It is a carnival for your student, and it's a great way for them to meet new people and to start their friendship journey. Additionally, we have great opportunities for students to win prizes. We have our big service event, which is Woo's Big Event. This program is held twice a year, and it is one service opportunity out of many that we host. Woo's Big Event actually takes students into the Wichita community and as a partnership with United Way. Sorry, I have an automatic light. Hold on. All right. Beyond Woo's Big Event, you'll also see on here our yard show and Shocktoberfest. These are our large community-wide programs. The yard show is sponsored by our National Panhellenic Council and our Cultural Greek Council. They are culturally based fraternities and sororities, and that is the start of their kind of intake and showcase process. And then we'll talk more about Shocktoberfest Family Weekend, because we want you all to come back after you drop your kids off and experience what it means to be a Shocker at Wichita State. So many of you probably want to know, how do your students make friends? How do they get connected? I've talked a little bit about that. I would wholeheartedly encourage you to make sure your student is connecting with at least one student organization on campus. A lot of your students may be living in the residence halls. Our RAs do a great job of getting students out of the halls and getting them connected, but you're also there to help nudge them along the way. So again, browse that calendar, browse Shocker Sync, help them navigate it themselves, and start to make those introductions. I mentioned before, finding your community can look different in many ways. That could be them going to an event or visiting one of those student orgs. Our involvement fair is the second week of campus, and this is a student organization fair with about 100 student organizations on campus, willing and excited to make those face-to-face connections with your student. While they're there at that involvement fair, they get to sign up on those interest forms. They get to learn more about the organization's mission and values, and hopefully make some meaningful relationships with student groups that one day they may be leading themselves. So encourage them to go to the involvement fair. We also have Meet the Greeks. So if your student is, if we can go back to that page, we also have Meet the Greeks, and that program is intended for students to meet our fraternity and sorority leaders specifically. During that time, they will learn more about the recruitment and the intake process for each one of those groups. The last one on here I'll mention is our Project Connect. Project Connect is a campus-wide initiative that has staff and student mentors and like peer leaders. So if your student is interested in a topic like anime, and maybe there's not a student group for it, there might be a Project Connect hub, and where we will pair students with similar interests together in an opportunity to meet like-minded individuals and start to build those friendships and make some meaningful connections. And the best part about it is it does have that leader component. So whether that's a student or staff, that's going to help moderate that conversation and start to create a dialogue and help the students build those connections that maybe they haven't been able to formulate on their own, but that leader is there to help them do that. Next slide. So beyond those connections like Project Connect, some of our staff also are part of our Shocker Strengths program. Your student, when they confirm their orientation date, will get a confirmation email. As part of that, one of the things that they will be asked to do is complete their Shocker Strengths evaluation. Strengths is a worldwide renowned program known as Clifton Strengths, and as a university, we are a Shocker Strengths hub. That assessment is, if you're familiar and maybe you're in a corporate world or business world, is similar to like Myers-Briggs or True Colors, and it gives your student a language to be able to communicate what their strengths and their talents are. This is going to be extremely important for your Shocker to take this assessment prior to attending their orientation. So if you visit wichita.edu/Shocker Strengths, you'll be able to see more about that program. There will also be a page for your student to be able to click on that and be able to take that assessment. That assessment will highlight your student's top 5 strengths. You'll see in this picture, we have a transition mentor, and those are his individual 5 strengths. These are your personal talents. Mine is individualization, it is consistency, strategic, analytical, and responsibility. After they have learned what their top 5 strengths are and their national talents, during that orientation process, our staff are on hand to be able to help them articulate that and better understand what that means for them in their academic journey and their Shocker journey. For me, my analytical and my strategic, those 2 strengths are things that I use every day, whether that is processing assessments, helping students better understand what their involvement journey might look like. And for your student, that might be articulating how they work best in a team, how they work best in a student organization, or how they work best in that classroom experience where they're now having to do some of those high-level group projects. So make sure that when they get their orientation confirmation, they're clicking on the Shocker Strengths button and they're taking that assessment. So setting them up for success beyond Shocker Strengths, our staff also host a premier program on campus, which is Passage to Success. This is one of those pre-seasons that Kim was talking about. And our Passage to Success program is a transition program for students who are really concerned about starting their college journey. We see a lot of first-generation students. We see students from our rural communities who maybe have never been in a big city. Wichita State is a large campus. It is even bigger than some of the smaller communities in Kansas, as well as our bordering states. So I would encourage those students who are nervous about making those connections, who are nervous about what the college journey looks like, to enroll in our Passage to Success program. I'm gonna toggle back and forth on a website real quick. Passage to Success, it does have a registration fee. That registration fee is $50. And what that $50 does is it helps to take care of some of those meals that they might eat, their t-shirt, and some of their materials for the week. They get their t-shirts, they get their meals covered, and they also will be able to move into housing during that time. Additionally, our students can also take this for course credit. So we have faculty on hand that help to support Passage to Success. So if they would like to earn credit for participating in that, there is an additional $75 course fee. So if for any reason you look over this program and you're like, this is a program that I want my student to participate, but I don't necessarily have the money at this time, I would encourage you to reach out to our staff. You can do that at seb@wichita.edu and say, I would like to learn more about Passage to Success and the registration fee, and we'll be able to get you connected with the sponsors of that program, and we'll be able to work out those issues if needed. So at this, I will remind you all, if you do have questions about any of these initiatives, feel free to ask those questions and we'll be able to address them. Other academic programs that we have beyond Passage to Success, which is a preseason, we also have our PASS program, which is promoting academic student success, and our CRAM cafes. PASS is a program that has peer mentors in it, and those mentors meet with them all throughout the semester, help them get connected with our Shocker Learning Center, review their tests, help them get connected with tutors, and help them along their academic journey and make sure that they're comfortable, especially in their first year as a new student. And our CRAM cafes are fun, safe spaces for students with pastries and coffee, and just a good way to come to a space with other peers that need some study buddies along their journey. So I've mentioned to you several times, we have several student organizations on campus, 200 plus. That's a lot, I know. Those student groups, to give you a little perspective, are broken up into different categories. So some are academic, some are honorary, service-based, special interest, cultural, religious organizations. So 200 organizations in a variety of categories. Those groups are independently operated on campus, which means the members of that are volunteers. The advisors to those organizations are volunteers. On this page, we have our student engagement and belonging student groups. The difference in these groups from our student organizations is these have full-time staff members who are dedicated to the success of these programs, and these programs and groups are very high level. So my staff actually supervise and advise the Community Service Board as well as the Student Activities Council. Our Community Service Board is charged with coordinating volunteer initiatives for students to be able to meaningfully engage in the local area community in partnership with United Way. Our Student Activities Council is a hub for programming and activities on campus. They're the ones that host our big bingos. They host dance parties. They host substance-free events. They host travel events like this past semester, we just took a busload of students up to Kansas City to visit the Nelson Atkins Museum. So they're the ones that are charged with creating those memorable experiences. Our students who get engaged with these student organizations, because they have dedicated staff, tend to engage in a higher level of leadership opportunities and experiences. We work one-on-one with them about their academic journey. We advise them in their ability to lead committee meetings, their ability to make meaningful connections, write emails, create formal documents, actually work an Excel file. And so like those things from our department, we do a lot of that support and help them prepare those career readiness skills through these involvement opportunities. Additionally, we have our Belonging Coalition, and they help connect students with involvement opportunities as well as create some programs that help students get connected with other organizations on campus. And then our Student Government Association is your governing body of the university. If you have a student who is politically driven or has aspirations, I would encourage them to apply for one of our freshman Senate seats that will be available in the upcoming semester. Yeah, so I see a question from Charity Van Sant about Passage to Success and the dates. Passage to Success runs from August 9th through the 13th. And yes, when students do move in, they will be moving into their already assigned residence hall room because it is during that early move-in time frame. So any student that participates in those preseason programs that we've talked about, and they already have a room assignment and are living on campus, they will be able to move into that specific residence hall. I hope that answers your question. So next part we have is our fraternity and sorority life. Fraternity and sorority life offers a very meaningful experiences, and each of our organizations are tied to national organizations. Hold on, my light went off. So as you become part of a fraternity or sorority, you are now connected with a national organization and a large network of alumni who are connected globally across the world. So the benefits of joining a fraternity or sorority are brotherhood, sisterhood, networking, and academic success. Every year, our fraternity and sorority life community beats the GPA average of Wichita State students. So I think this past year, if I'm correct, and somebody can tell me different, it's about a 3.75 is the overall average of our FSL community. And that is a very strong point. And for me, an encouraging remark of why a student should consider joining a fraternity or sorority. Our fraternities and sororities are divided up amongst 4 different councils based on kind of the interest level. So our Interfraternity Council and our Panhellenic Council, they are, so IFC and Panhellenic Council, IFC is fraternity men and Panhellenic Council is sorority women. Those are some of our older historical organizations on campus. And then our Cultural Greek Council is made up of fraternities and sororities that have a cultural identity, such as our Asian students, our Hispanic students. You do not have to fit in those demographics, do not have to fit any of those organizations to become a member. It just signifies that that's what those organizations were initially founded on. And then our National Panhellenic Council, also known as the Divine Nine, those are our historically African-American fraternities and sororities. We do have 8 of 9 of those organizations on campus. So if we go to the next page, I'll talk a little bit about recruitment and intake. Because the reason I mentioned the different councils is they all have different processes for membership. Our Panhellenic Council will actually start their recruitment process, which is called primary recruitment. That will start the week before campus starts. So that, I'm trying to find my little notes here. So Panhellenic will start on the 12th and will run through the Sunday prior to classes starts. And the reason our Panhellenic Council does primary recruitment is our women get to experience orientation and get to meet every single one of the chapters. Our first couple of nights are values nights. They also have a service and sisterhood night. And then we go into decision making and ultimately bid day. The other benefit of a woman signing up for primary recruitment is they actually get paired up with a recruitment counselor. So they might be in a group with 10 other women who are participating in primary recruitment, and they have a student who is a recruitment counselor that will walk them through every step along the way through their journey. I will emphasize our Our deadline is August 10th, and primary recruitment will open May 1st. So it should be open tomorrow. Our women encourage the girls to follow Wichita State PC on Instagram, where there's more information. Additionally, the women of Panhellenic are hosting a recruitment informational, if you will, for graduating high school seniors. That program will take place Friday, May 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. They are doing an in-person version as well as a virtual version. That is free for your woman to be able to sign up for and to be able to participate in. And that is also listed on Shocker Sync, where they can sign up for that, and we'll be able to also send it out to you following this presentation. So you might wonder their involvement journey. There's a lot going on in those first 4 weeks and really that first semester, and all of that continues on. So beyond those programs and getting involved, we want you to know that there are many other experiences that take them beyond campus. I know somebody asked earlier about what it looks like to extend your journey out if you want to do that. The National Student Exchange is a program that we offer with the university, and it is a national program. So we have students every year that apply for a National Student Exchange, and they get, they're in a matching program. So they will select what are 3 campuses or 3 colleges or universities that they would be interested in experiencing. And then those campuses will be able to select those students. We've had students in the past go and study at Arizona State. We had one student study for a semester at the University of Hawaii at Honolulu. We even had one student go to Puerto Rico. So in that, they can typically select a semester or up to a year. That school has to have something that supports their academic journey, because they are earning course credit while they're attending those campuses. And it's also a great way if a student is exploring a master's program and wants to go and see if another campus is right for them after their 4 years here, or however long their journey is, then they can kind of make an educated decision on that. So I mentioned a lot of programs and some deadlines and dates. So we've got some important deadlines coming up. Our Passage to Success, that deadline for registration is July 31st. Our Panhellenic Council recruitment is August 10th. And I didn't mention this earlier, but our Student Government Association sponsors what we call a Freshman Leadership Council. And that is a small organization of students who are led by a peer that connect them with opportunities to engage with the Student Government Association. They also get some hands-on leadership experience through some programming and outreach initiatives. So that deadline is September 30th. So how can you help? Supporting your Shocker journey. I've mentioned this several times. Get comfortable with the calendar on campus through Shocker Sync. Be able to make recommendations for your students. Ask them, when's the last time they went to their student organization meeting? Something that we tend to see is our students will get connected early in the semester, and they get busy, and so they kind of drop off, but make sure that they're attending those meetings and they're continuing to connect in meaningful ways. And if a student organization isn't right for them, hopefully they found a job on campus or in the community, and they're still making those connections and being able to gain some valuable experiences. So you can browse our website, which is wichita.edu/SEB, to explore all of those involvement opportunities and to be able to encourage them to find the fit that works for them. One of this last slides is a reminder for you all. Family is always welcome at Wichita State, and my staff and myself, we actually host Shocktoberfest and Family Weekend. Shocktoberfest and Family Weekend is a celebration of Shocker pride, and we invite all members of the Shocker Nation to return to campus for those celebratory activities. Our Family Weekend starts Friday, October 2nd and goes through the 3rd, but you're welcome to come back anytime on campus. Just note that this weekend is designed for you and the Shocker community, and we do that with patio parties, our Shocktoberfest parade, Shocker Madness, which is a kickoff to our athletic season, and you'll even see opportunities for you to specifically meet with President Muma and his partner Rick Case. And so those are a lot of great opportunities for you and your family to come back to campus and enjoy the Shocker experience. The best part and what I love to see is at the beginning of the semester, we're the ones showing students where everything is. We're helping them get connected and feel comfortable. And by the time that you come back for Family Weekend, it's the students that are showing you around. They want to take you to their favorite dining spot on campus. They want you to meet their friends, and they want you to sit in Coke-A-Reno with them as they get to do. So take advantage of that opportunity and join us back on campus for Family Weekend. If you have any other questions about student organizations or fraternity and sorority life or any of the programs that we offer, I'd be happy to connect with you and be able to answer those questions. And just know that you can connect with us through our website as well as our email, or give us a call and we will be able to answer those questions for you.
All right. Thank you, Tia. We are exactly at time. 1 minute over, but I want to, for those who are able to stay on, I do questions that popped up that I want us to be able to get to. And so one of them was, I want to go back to, I believe it was Michelle, and they wanted to know, will freshmen have to live on campus for their first year at the university? And no, they do not. And so we do encourage all freshmen to live on campus. If they reside within a specific mile radius or here within the Wichita area, they can file for an exemption to live off campus or at home. And so that is all available on our housing website. Our housing is, we're getting pretty full. So if your student is wanting to live on campus and they have yet to submit their housing application and the deposit fee, there is still a little bit of time, but we can't guarantee space. And so one of the things that I will share that may be a little different is that students expect that they will get a single room. And where we're at right now, the housing application opened up October 1st. And so if your student is a little late getting that submitted, room availability may be limited. And so make sure you connect with our housing folks for that. We did get the question about Passage to Success and when that was. One thing that I also wanted to add was that we have a multitude of preseason programs here at the university. And so our student engagement and belonging team does a phenomenal job of really getting out and engaging with students that week before classes. And so like Tia shared, is that students are starting to move in on August 8th. This is 1 week prior to the first day of classes. And so as a parent, a lot of times we're concerned about what are they going to do? Are there things for them? Are they just going to be sitting in their room? And between our Office of Student Engagement and Belonging, our Student Success Department, and multiple offices across campus, we come together to create that Shocker experience that Tia was talking about, of creating spaces and events for them to get engaged and involved with and connected. And so one of the areas that Tia had talked about is our Welcome Week and Shock Fest. And so making sure that if your student is coming and they're coming early, they're moving in early, don't let them play you. And I'm going to say that again.
Yep.
I'm your students' shocker mom on campus, and I will treat them like my own. And one of them is, students will say, well, I have to be here on Saturday on August 8th. And if they are in a preseason program like Passage to Success, they will need to come in earlier to be engaged for that full week. Now, they can come in anytime during that week, but it's just dependent on when your student wants to come. And so don't feel like they have to be here on that Saturday. We really encourage students to come in throughout the week, because that allows for us to not have that bottleneck and just a whole bunch of crowdedness when folks are trying to get in. And so if you're interested in your student engaging, if they're planning on moving in early, please check out our preseason programs online. What Tia shared about Passage to Success, that is one of many programs that the university offers. There's some that are tied to academic colleges. Our College of Engineering has one that they do that is phenomenal, very similar to what Student Engagement and Belonging does. We have a Shocker Promise Scholars one. We have one for even math and science. And so making sure you take advantage and seeing what is it that sparks your students' interests, and go ahead and have them sign up for those. Some of them are free. Others do have a cost. And so making sure you're looking at that. When spots fill up, that's it. And so if that's something you're wanting to engage in, make sure that you check those out early on. Another question that I had, Tia, was if someone was interested in Greek Live, do they have to attend recruitment?
So it depends on what they're interested in. That primary recruitment that I referred to is just for our Panhellenic Council sororities. That is 5 sororities of our 26 chapter community. So if your student is interested in joining, say it's a woman, and they're interested in joining a cultural sorority, they may be interested in a sorority in our CGC or NPHC. Those sororities are not part of Panhellenic recruitment. They have their own intake and recruitment process. I say if your young woman is interested in joining one of those cultural-based organizations, that recruitment process starts at the beginning of the semester, and they're encouraged to go to the events that are hosted by those organizations, because the women want to meet them and meet them where they're at. The same thing for our men who are interested in our cultural fraternities. They want to be able to interact with them. They want to see them in the event spaces. We have a couple of different programs where they can do that at the beginning of the semester. We have our Meet the Greeks program. We also have our CGC and NPHC yard show that happens in the second week of the semester. And then all of those individual chapters also hold their own informational sessions. If you have a young man who is interested in a cultural fraternity, then the same applies for our CGC and NPHC. If you have an individual who wants more of a traditional fraternity experience, that is our interfraternity council. And those young gentlemen, they have their own recruitment process. We love them. They make our lives sometimes a little complicated. But their process is, I call it free range. And if your son is interested in joining an IFC fraternity, they can fill out an interest form, or they can go onto Instagram. They can DM them individually. They can go to one of their volleyball events over the summer. And that process for our IFC starts after May 11th. So after May 11th, any of your graduating seniors, or even if you have a graduate already, a transfer student, they can go ahead and start the process of joining one of those IFC fraternities over the summer. So it's a pretty different process for each of them.
Perfect. Thanks. I know we're over time, and I thank everyone for staying with us. And I want to remind you that as you are preparing your student for graduation, pause and be present in the moment because you don't get that time back. We are here with you all summer long. And so this is just our first kickoff. And this is where, again, we bring the experts to you and we give you the information when you need to know it. And so if you feel overwhelmed, take a breath. And if you have not already done so, feel free to go to our website, wichita.edu/STFF or SFTT, which stands for Shocker Family Table Talk. And there you will see our complete listing of all of our sessions that we have planned for this summer. And so our next one coming up is Navigating the First Year at Wichita State. And in this session, we are bringing our academic advisors for first year advising and our student success team to talk about those very specific academic questions that you have. Did your student accept their schedule? Have they not? Have we received transcripts? What about different things regarding their progress? And all of that information will be addressed at that time. If you have any questions regarding any step of the process, we are here every step of the way. You can reach out to myself or Kim Sandlin directly as we oversee this process throughout the summer. And so you can email us directly or just find us online and send us an email or message. If you have not had an opportunity, we really encourage you to not only connect with us, but take time to connect with each other. We have a phenomenal group on Facebook, which is called the Shocker Family Network. And within the network, this is an opportunity for you as families to talk with each other and to ask questions with our current families. And when I first proposed this to my boss, they were like, whoa, how are we going to do it? Our families are our best ambassadors. And so if you have questions a lot of times and you're not able to find it online, 9 times out of 10, a family member will be able to answer that question for you. And if not, then one of our staff will jump in and help answer questions. And so again, thank you for joining us tonight. Before we log off, we have 2 winners. And so this is something we will do every session is we will have 2 winners who have signed up and we will mail you some Shocker swag. And so tonight's winners are Charity Van Sanden. And so sorry if I did butchered your name, Charity. And so Charity is our first winner for engaging in conversation first. So Charity, we have some Shocker swag that we'll be sending out to you. And then the second one is Kimberly Bean. And so Charity and Kimberly, thank you for signing up in advance. And we will be in touch to get your Shocker swag sent out to you. If you would like to get a calendar invite and for the future events, please make sure you sign up online and we will get those save the dates on your calendar. If not, we look forward to connecting with you on May 28th for our next series. Until then, take care and we look forward to seeing you on campus soon. Have a great day and go Shocks.
Bye, everybody.